Hey guys, Tom here again from Presets.com, and in this Serum tutorial I'm going to be going over how to make a really modern roll-in trance bass using X4 Records Serum. I'll quickly just demonstrate what the bass actually sounds like in the context of a track, and then we'll initialize the preset and go ahead and start making it. So hopefully you like that sound. I really like it. It's got a really solid sound. It's really nice and short and snappy, and I really like it. And as you can see at the top here, it says bass 23. This is because this is bass 23 from my trance preset pack. If you haven't already checked it out, you can go ahead and go to Presets.com. I'll click the link in the description below and it'll take you to that. There's a 5-minute demo of it on there as well, which is uploaded on my SoundCloud and hosted on the site. And it contains 256 trance presets, including basses, leads, plucks, pads, and effects also. So again, if you're interested in that, head over to Presets.com or click the link in the description below. But without further ado, I'm actually going to go ahead and initialize the preset here, and we're going to start making this song completely from scratch. So let me just set the MIDI here so we can actually hear what we're doing when we want to listen to it, and I'll solo the track as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just start off in the sub oscillator here. Now I'm actually going to pitch this down -2 octaves as well as oscillator A here. Now this will completely depend on the octave of the MIDI notes that you are inputting into Serum, obviously, but the main thing that you should be aware of is that oscillator A and the sub are the same octave, and oscillator B is actually just 1 octave above both the sub and A as well. So just as long as you make sure that oscillator B is an octave above these two oscillators, then you should be good to go. So we're just going to make sure that the sub oscillator is a simple sine wave. This is the purest tone that you can get. A lot of people overcomplicate, having a full sounding sub bass, and really you can't get any purer than a sine wave, sorry. The other thing I'm just going to do here is click this direct out button. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that when I start applying effects like compression and the hyperdimension effect and stuff like that later on, the sub is going to be unaffected by this. We want this to stay as consistent as possible, and clicking this direct out button just means that the sub is going to be going straight from Serum's output, and it's not going to be kind of modulated by anything else or changed at all. So it's just going to stay as pure as possible. So moving into oscillator A then, for oscillator A and B we're just going to use very simple saw waves, and we're going to increase the unison here to 7. Now, in case you didn't know what unison does, unison is essentially the amount of voices an oscillator has, which is essentially just different versions of the sound being outputted by the oscillator that are all slightly detuned, and the effect this has is essentially a widening effect. So if you're ever having trouble making a bass sound thick enough, it's sounding a bit too thin, increasing the unison amount and just making sure that they're all detuned is a really great way to thicken a sound up. Let's see what else we're going to do. So oscillator B, we also need this to be a unison of 7, and again we're just going to bring down the detune a bit. Now, by default in Serum, envelope 1 is the amplitude envelope, and for this sound, because it's a rolling bass and the MIDI notes are going to be very fast typically, we want the amplitude envelope of the sound to be very short and very snappy so that the notes aren't overlapping. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this right down, so we're going to have absolutely no sustain. We're just going to sharpen up the decay a little bit as well, and just add a little bit of release, around 150 milliseconds or so. And what this will do is give the sound a very short envelope, as I'll just demonstrate quickly here. 1 second, let me bring the master down. So you can hear there already it's got a very, very short plucky amplitude, but we've still got a little bit of a way to go. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is enable the filter by clicking this button here. And the filter we're going to use, obviously in Serum there's a really, really big choice of filters. I've actually never seen anything like it in any other synth. But what we're going to do is use the a multi-filter. And a multi-filter, you obviously have your normal filters like low pass, high pass, band, peak, notch. And what multi-filters allow you to do is actually combine these filters. So for this sound, what we're going to do is use a combination of low pass and peak. So first of all, we'll just act like this is a normal low pass filter, and what we're going to do is simply make sure that oscillator A and B are being routed into the filter by just enabling B here. We don't need to worry about the sub because, as I mentioned earlier, this is just going directly out. And the first thing we're going to do is drag and drop our amplitude envelope here, and we're also going to use the same envelope to modulate the cutoff of the filter, which has this effect. So already there you can really hear the sound starting to shape up a little bit. Now the reason we also we use a multi filter with a peak filter in as well is, so if I just turn the cutoff up here a bit and turn the resonance up just a little bit and move this frequency knob, you can see this second kind of peak moving, and this is what I mean when I was on about it being a multi-filter. So as well as having the low pass functionality of this filter, we also now have some more kind of frequency shaping possibilities, and what I'm going to do is actually use the same envelope here to modulate the frequency of the peak filter. So over time this kind of this peak is going to sweep up and down, and it's just going to add an extra layer to the sound, as you can hear here. Which sounds really cool. I'm actually going to bring the resonance down a little bit, and really it's only really noticeable when the cutoff is up. The reason for this is because this is moving in a frequency band around the mid range, I'd say. And when the cutoff's down, you're actually not going to hear that, but really that will only really be noticeable when you actually maybe automate the cutoff or something like that. But it's just, I mean, it's not entirely necessary, it's just something you might want to think about doing. So far we have this, which is a really nice sound, but at the minute it's a little bit flat, it's a little bit boring. So what we're going to do here is something I like to do on lead sounds as well, actually, is just decrease the filter mix amount ever so slightly. And basically what this is doing is allowing sound from oscillator A and B to actually bypass the filter completely, so we're just hearing a small amount of the actual raw sound, which you might not be able to hear too clearly here. It's more obvious when I turn it up a lot. So you can hear it very slightly here, and what we're actually going to do, just to add a bit of sharpness to the sound and actually make that even more obvious, is add compression. I'm actually going to use the multi-band functionality here, which by default, if you turn up the gain, will bring out a lot of the mid-highs of the sound. And you've just got to be really careful with this, because this goes up to 30 dB increase in gain, and it's a very, very extreme effect, as I'll just quickly demonstrate here. So that makes a really, really noticeable difference. Now the other thing I'm going to do here is actually add the hyper dimension effect. Now we're not actually using the dimension section of the effect here because the mix is all the way down, but we are going to use this hyper effect, and essentially this is going to make the sound even bigger and wider, again through the use of unison and detuning, similar to that that we already discussed in the oscillator, but this actually affects the whole sound. So this is now what it sounds like. And that pretty much covers the sound. It's just a really simple, really nice rolling bass sound. There's a lot more you could do to this, but hopefully this will kind of provide a basis for you to expand on and be creative with. You could experiment with some different filters, perhaps different combination of low pass and something else. You could also experiment with some more complex wavetables, maybe have some wavetable position automation in there as well. But yeah, that's the basic sound. Hopefully you found this tutorial useful. Again, if you want to get yourself more presets like this, specifically made for trance, although they are useful for other genres as well, click the link in the description that will take you to my website, or go to serumpresets.com and check out Trance Volume 1 for Serum. There's a 5-minute audio demo on there and a full list of all the sounds that are in there as well as just a general description about what you can expect from that. So again, thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you have any questions or suggestions or feedback on my tutorials, feel free to let me know. I love getting feedback. That helps me improve my videos and improve my content, and I love getting suggestions for videos to make. And yeah, if you want to stay up to date with the latest videos I bring out, feel free to subscribe, feel free to like, and yeah, that pretty much covers it. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.